The story begins in New York City, where we meet Amanda and Clay, a couple heading out for a weekend getaway. Amanda has rented a house near the sea, but Clay isn't thrilled about it. She made the decision without telling him. Still, Amanda manages to convince him, and soon, the family, including their 2 children, Archie and Rose, sets off on their trip. When they arrive, they're pleasantly surprised. The house is beautifully designed, far beyond their expectations. The kids jump into the swimming pool with excitement, and even Clay, watching them, admits to Amanda, this was a great idea. Later, Amanda heads to a nearby store. While shopping, she notices a man hurriedly loading his car with supplies, water bottles, food, the works. It's odd, but she shrugs it off and heads back. At home, Clay is preparing dinner. After eating, the family visits the beach. Amanda is glad to see it isn't crowded. But then, Rose spots something strange, a ship in the distance, moving slowly toward the shore. Clay reassures her that it's probably just an oil tanker, but Rose remains fixated on it. Eventually, Amanda looks up and realizes the ship is far too close. She quickly wakes Clay. He tries to downplay it again, saying it's normal for large ships to appear bigger up close. In a panic, Amanda and Clay grab the kids and run. The ship crashes ashore and causes a stir, sending people fleeing in confusion. The beach is soon shut down. Still shaken, the family returns to the house. Despite the scare, Archie and Rose continue playing. Then, she spots 2 deer on the edge of the property and calls Clay over. The peaceful sight lifts their spirits a little. That night, after the kids are asleep, Amanda hears a strange noise and asks Clay if he heard it too. He didn't. Moments later, there's a knock at the door. Alarmed, Clay picks up a stick and goes to check. At the door stand 2 strangers, George and his daughter Ruth. George apologizes for the late visit and introduces himself. Clay is confused but invites them in after George claims this is actually their house. Amanda is stunned. George explains they had to return unexpectedly due to a blackout. No power, no traffic lights, no cell signal, so they came back home. Amanda doesn't buy it. She tries calling the rental company, but finds there's no network. George offers to return half the rent and promises they'll stay out of the way, just needing a place to sleep. Clay, convinced by George's access to the house and his calm demeanor, agrees to let them stay. Amanda, however, remains suspicious. In private, Amanda tells Clay she believes George is lying. If there really was a blackout, they could have stayed at a hotel. Clay reasons that George accessing the money from the cupboard must mean it's his house. If he's lying, Clay says, we really should be the ones leaving. Clay promises to check things out himself. Back in the living room, George makes drinks while Amanda questions him. Meanwhile, Ruth turns on the TV, and suddenly a national emergency alert appears. Everyone falls silent. Now Amanda begins to think George and Ruth were telling the truth. She agrees to let them stay for the night. George and Ruth head to the basement, but Ruth is upset. This is our house, and we have to sleep downstairs, she complains. She urges her father to make the others leave, but George refuses. We rented it out. Now we have to let them stay. Suddenly, the TV flickers again. A voice announces that all TV and radio services are shutting down due to the blackout. Then, another bulletin explains there's been a massive cyberattack across the country. The screen goes black. The next morning, Rose enters her parents' room, disappointed that she can't watch the final episode of her favorite show due to no internet. Amanda checks her phone and sees news alerts confirming the blackout is due to a hacker attack that's disrupted systems nationwide. She shows Clay, but he brushes it off. When Amanda looks back at her phone, the alerts are gone, as if they were never there. This only deepens her anxiety. Clay decides to go to the market and look for a newspaper, hoping for answers. Meanwhile, Rose notices a strange car outside and asks Amanda about it. Amanda explains that George and Ruth arrived last night due to the blackout, but Rose is too young to grasp the full situation. Later, she asks Clay to fix the TV, but nothing works. Frustrated, she heads outside and sees deer again. She walks toward them, curious. Back inside, Ruth wakes up from a nightmare. She heads to the kitchen, where Amanda is already sitting. Amanda tells Ruth about the alert she saw and shares her suspicions that hackers might be behind everything. Ruth finds the idea strange. George walks in, and Amanda fills him in. George laughs and tells her not to worry. He compares the situation to the I Love You bug, a computer virus from the early 2000s that caused major financial losses. Amanda, unfamiliar with it, asks him to explain. George says it was a virus that spread via email attachments, infecting millions of computers. It was eventually traced back to 2 teenagers in the Philippines who created it for fun. George decides to visit a neighbor named Huxley, hoping he might know more. Meanwhile, Clay is still trying to reach the market, but without GPS or signal, he gets lost. Back at the house, Rose tells Archie about the deer she saw in the morning. It felt like they were trying to say something, she says. Curious, They follow the path into the forest and discover a cabin. The moment they enter, something feels off. Meanwhile, George reaches Huxley's house and finds it in disarray. As he searches, he discovers a satellite phone, but it doesn't work either. Just as he's about to leave, he hears a strange noise. He follows it and ends up at the beach. George spots a watch lying in the sand. As he bends down to pick it up, he freezes. It's still attached to a severed hand. Horrified, he stumbles backward and falls, only to discover the body of a pilot nearby. Looking around, George realizes a plane has crashed here, and it seems no one survived. Suddenly, another plane appears in the sky, heading in the same direction. George panics and starts running, but the second plane crashes as well, just moments later. Meanwhile, Clay is still lost. With no GPS and no signal, he decides to turn back home. On the way, he sees a frightened woman on the road who's pleading for help in Spanish. Clay, unable to understand her, hesitates, then drives off. Moments later, he sees a drone in the sky dropping small red objects, which scares him even more. He hits the gas and speeds away. Back in the forest, Rose and Archie are still exploring. Rose once again spots the same deer. But before she can point it out to Archie, it vanishes. At that moment, George returns home, soaked and shaken. Ruth asks why he's wet, and George casually says he fell into the pool. But when she steps away to grab dry clothes, George quietly tells Amanda what he really saw. Huxley's place was abandoned, and even the satellite phone wasn't working. That's not supposed to happen, even during a blackout. George suspects a serious cyberattack, one so powerful it might have taken control of US satellites. Amanda laughs off the theory, but Ruth, who's been eavesdropping, is clearly disturbed. Then George reveals the most terrifying part. He saw 2 planes crash at the beach. This finally gets Amanda's attention. George solemnly adds, "I don't think this was made by kids in the Philippines." Suddenly, a loud, high-pitched noise rings through the air. Amanda panics and bolts into the forest to find her children. A while later, the sound abruptly stops. She finds Archie and Rose safe, but everyone is rattled. They gather in the kitchen, trying to figure out what's happening. George suggests waiting for Clay, hoping he'll have answers. Amanda sends the kids upstairs, worried this is too much for them. She remembers the man from the store hoarding supplies. He must have known something. Just then, Clay walks in. Everyone rushes to him, eager for news. But Clay says he never made it to the store. He got lost and somehow found his way back. He also saw a drone dropping pamphlets, though he couldn't read them. Then, Archie steps in. He looks at the pamphlet and says the front reads, "Death of America," a phrase he remembers from a video game. The adults are stunned. They decide it's time to leave. Amanda and Clay pack up the kids and head out, ignoring George's warnings that the city might be more dangerous. While driving, they hit a major traffic jam. Several Tesla vehicles have crashed, blocking the highway. Amanda steps out to check and realizes there are no drivers, just a sticker that reads, "Fully autonomous, no human driver required." Another Tesla approaches, and Amanda quickly tells Clay, "Get back in the car." She swerves just in time as it crashes into the pileup. More driverless cars start coming. Amanda drives like a pro, narrowly escaping, and they head back to George's house, shaken but alive. Later that night, as everyone sits trying to make sense of it all, Amanda suggests maybe the world is at war. Maybe everything outside is already gone. Ruth hears this and breaks down, thinking of her mom. Then, a loud bang erupts. The lights explode, glass shatters, and Rose, alone in her room, is terrified. The next morning, Amanda wakes to find Rose missing. She quickly wakes Archie, but he's acting strangely, his teeth clenched, body trembling. Scared, Amanda calls Clay. Archie says he doesn't know what's happening to him. As they search the house, Amanda suggests taking Archie to a hospital, but George reminds them the highways are wrecked. It's not safe. When Clay asks Archie if he knows where Rose might have gone, he recalls a cabin they found near a group of deer. Amanda and Ruth go to search, while George and Clay take Archie to Danny's house, hoping for help. In the forest, Amanda and Ruth reach the cabin, but Rose isn't there. Amanda starts to lose hope. Nearby, they spot tire tracks and decide to follow them. Meanwhile, at Danny's house, George and Clay are met with a gun. Danny refuses to help until Clay offers cash. Danny agrees and gives Archie some medicine. He also mentions rumors that North Korea or China might be behind everything. Clay shows Danny the drone pamphlet. Danny says a friend of his, a military vet, might understand it. Before leaving, George shares a chilling story. One of his military clients once warned him about a strategic cyber warfare plan. Stage 1. Isolation, cut off communication and transport. Stage 2. Synchronized attacks, spread fear and misinformation to break down defenses and cause civil unrest. Stage 3. Collapse. Internal war leads to the fall of governments. It's cheap, effective, and terrifying. Amanda and Ruth follow the track, but as they approach, they see the city in ruins, bombed and burning. They are speechless. Inside that house, Rose is safe. She's been snacking, unaware of what's happening outside. Before leaving, she notices a hidden bunker. Curiosity draws her in. Inside, it's fully stocked. Food, water, a gym, a bed, even a big TV. She puts in a DVD of her favorite show, the one she never got to finish, and watches the final episode. And with that, the movie ends. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.